Is an ISA worth it for retirement? Okay, now we all know what an ISA is, or I hope you do, an individual savings account where you can save up to £20,000 per annum after the tax year each year on the 5th of April. So over the course of time, you could build up a nice pot inside an ISA. Now, why do people use ISAs? So an ISA is far more tax efficient than say having money inside a bank account or a GIA. Why? There's no capital gains tax on the growth inside an ISA account. So current level at the moment is £20,000. ISAs actually began in 1999. It was £7,000 allowance. It's now gone up to £20,000. Say over the course of the next 10 years, if we keep a simple scenario, you're 50 years old and you're planning to retire at 60, you've got 10 years. Let's assume the UK government keeps it at £20,000. They'll probably increase it. That's up to £200,000 that you can invest over the course of the next 10 years that will be free from capital gains tax. So, is an ISA worth it for retirement? Yes, an ISA is very worth it for retirement because over the course of those 10 years, if we take a growth rate of say 5, 10%, whatever you want to look at in terms of the long-term trend of the equity markets, 5% probably more on the medium scale, 10% probably more on the adventurous scale, past performance no guide to future performance, that £200,000, I can't do the maths in my head, that £200,000 would have grown dramatically over the course of that 10-year period. So then from age 60, you could start drawing those ISAs down or spending them, so to speak, and you would have no tax to be paid on the growth of those assets. Now, that sounds all well and good, but is there something more efficient that you can do from age 50 to 60 in terms of planning for your retirement? The answer is yes. And if you want to speak to one of our senior advisors here at Cameron James to understand more, you can go to the description section below. There's a WhatsApp link where you can start a quick informal chat with myself. If you want to speak to one of our team directly, you can book in below via the calendar link, find the day and the time which is suitable for you. All calls are free of charge. It's just an introductory meeting to understand how we're possibly able to help you. Now, what I was about to say was, you also have annual pension allowance in the UK, which has now been raised by the UK government to £60,000 per annum. So, if you're age 50, I would hope you're probably at the peak of your career in terms of what you're earning. The majority of our clients have quite comfortable careers. Between age 50 to 60, this effectively means that you could get up to £600,000 invested into your UK pension scheme, such as a SIPP. Which we work with here at Cameron James. So that £60,000 invested as well can also be extremely tax efficient because it comes from either your employer or your employee contributions or personal contributions. On personal contributions, you obviously get the tax added back from the UK government. We have other videos on the channel that discuss this in more detail. So yes, is an ISA worth it for retirement? I would say yes, it is. But if you've already maximized your pension annual allowance each year. Now, to caveat that, every client situation is different. This is not financial advice. You would have to go through a proper advice process with a regulated financial advisor like ourselves here at Cameron James to understand what is correct for you. Because say you say to me, Dominic, I'm 50 years old. I like the idea of doing the pension, but you know what? I'm not sure about work. I feel like maybe they're going to sack me at age 55 or 54. I might need that capital sooner than I think. I might not have 10 more years worth of income, or maybe you just have a shorter investment timeline. You might want to utilize your ISA allowance because the ISA allowance you can take out at any point. Obviously, if you take a fixed ISA for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, you can't take it out at any point. But a stocks and shares ISA, which is what we work with here at Cameron James, typically we use AJ Bell in the UK. Every client situation is different and we have to run an analysis, but they're an extremely large provider, fantastic at ISA services in the UK, which is why we work with them a lot. You would then be able to access that capital at any point. So say 5 years into the 10 years, I say, Dominic, right, I saved 100 grand into my stocks and shares ISA. Fantastic. We've also had some growth, past performance, no guide to future performance. Our balanced portfolio is currently growing around 52.4% over the course of the past 5 years. But as I said, past performance, no guide to future performance. You would then be able to say, Dominic, thanks for everything, but actually, you know what? My life has completely changed after these 5 years. I've been made redundant. I've got divorced, whatever it is that's happened in your life. Maybe you just decide to retire early, go and live in Thailand or go and live on the beach in the Caribbean, whatever it is. You could withdraw all of that money from the stocks and shares ISA and there'd be no capital gains tax to be applied. Whilst if we look at the pension option that I was discussing, as you'll probably know from your reading, Pension pots are only accessible from age 55 or 57, and that's the modern pension scheme, such as the AJ Bell SIPP that we work with. So you'd actually have a bit more of a lock-in period with the pension scheme compared to an ISA, but obviously far more and greater tax efficiency on pension contributions rather than ISA contributions. So my summary would be, yes, ISAs are certainly worth it for retirement, but it really comes down to a game and an art. So for a lot of my clients, I literally have a templated reasons why letter with them, which says, over the course of the next 10 years, I plan to maximize my ISA allowance with you. Please proceed each year. Now, we have to go back each year and do a very short addendum letter to understand has anything changed in their situation, but that's the type of financial planning that you should be doing. Now, maybe you can do this on your own, but I would always advise to do it with an advisor, because a financial advisor has a vested interest in ensuring you are maximizing your ISA allowances each year, and not just your ISA allowances, but also your partner's ISA allowances or your kids' ISA allowances. If your kids are over the age of 18, they obviously also have a £20,000 limit. If not, you can use the JISA allowance, which is £9,000, which we'll be covering off in another video. That's for anyone under the age of 18, basically children. I hope you found this ISA video helpful today. Let me know in the comment section below your ISA strategy and how you maximize your annual allowances. And as always, take care with UK Assets.